ready? All right. Hello, everyone. Sean Duffy here. Thank you for coming out. We're going to give you an update on Newark. I'm here with Chris Rushalow, the acting administrator of the FAA, Sarah McKeon from the Port Authority. She's the Newark Airport Director of Aviation, as well as Scott Kirby, the CEO of United Airlines, and Tom Kane, one of New Jersey's finest in Congress. So I appreciate them all being here with us. Today we're celebrating the opening of Newark's runway. And this is a 60-day project that actually is completed 13 days early. And we all couldn't be more grateful to the Port Authority, everyone who worked so hard, the unions, the labor that worked to make sure this happened. They were working around the clock, 24/7, to make sure they could complete the project before that 60-day time frame. And what is interesting is I think you were going to beat the time frame by a couple days, but when they saw some of the issues that were happening here at Newark, they actually ramped it up even more. And again, this is a great day to celebrate the opening of the runway. And it goes to a broader point in regard to the issues that we're having here. What you're seeing is everyone who touches the problem is giving their full-hearted effort. They're leaning into the problem and helping fix the problem. From the Port Authority, again, 13 days early, opening the runway today. But you've also heard we have a telecom problem. And so we had a glitch in the system. The FAA did a remarkable job fixing the glitch in our software. But then Verizon stood up and said, you know what? We are going to make this a priority. We're going to fix the not-so-great line that goes from the Philly Tracon up to N90 here in New York. And they did that in record time, in less than a month's time. Now, that new fiber line's not stood up yet because we're testing it. Right now, it has to be tested. The FAA has some pretty laborious testing procedures, which is, we appreciate that, Chris, thank you. But that process is underway and, again, happening very quickly. By the way, after that, we're laying fiber from N90 to Newark, but the line from N90 to Newark has not been a real issue for us. So again, everybody who touches the problem stands up and helps fix the problem. In regard to controllers, so that's been a big topic of conversation. You all know that we're 3,000 controllers short across the country right now, and that has been seen probably to the biggest extent at the Philly Tracon, which services the Newark Airport. And so just some background numbers. There's 22 controllers at Philly. There's 5 supervisors. 6 of those 22 controllers are on leave right now. So there's only 16 controllers that work the Philly Tracon. However, there are 16 controllers who are training right now for the Philly at the Philly Tracon for this airspace, and most of them are experienced controllers. And so on a rolling basis, over the next year, we're going to have more controllers come online into the Philly Tracon. In addition, we just brought in another 6 trainees into the Philly Tracon to also train up. So the problem we're seeing with controllers, it can't be fixed overnight. It takes time to train up on this airspace. But we've addressed the problem by bringing more controllers to train up in the Philly Tracon that, again, controls Newark here. And over the course of the next months, you're going to see improvements in this airport, in this airspace. And again, day one, we have the airport. You're going to see improvements, again, in the telecom, and then you're going to see improvements with the staffing issues with regard to controllers. I'm going to turn it over in a second to the deputy administrator, but I also, again, I fly out, this is my airport, I fly out of Newark, and I think think a lot of people were frustrated by the fact that they were booking flights, and because of the issues we were having, their flights were hours delayed and then maybe even canceled. And all of the airlines came together with the FAA's leadership, and United being the biggest provider, biggest airline here at Newark, they worked together to reduce the capacity at the airport. Again, we're flying 28 flights an hour in regard to departures, and I think the beauty of that is that when you book your flight, you're going to fly. Again, you don't want to book and wait 2 hours and be canceled. If you book, you want your plane to take off. And so we are at an agreement now where, again, if you come to this airport, Chris or Scott said we got some even better pricing right now at Newark. So if you want to book at Newark, you might get a little better deal if you're coming out of this airport. But if you book, you fly, and that's critical. That's important. And so the message I have for all of you is no one here has created this problem, right? The problem has landed on our laps, but I want you to know that you have every asset that touches the problem working together, coordinating, cooperating, collaborating to make sure that as a team we address the problem that exists at Newark. And by the way, we may see some of these problems happen at other places around the country. And with the same kind of energy and fervor, we're going to address those problems should they come up. And so, again, I'm proud of this team. I want to again say thank you to the Port Authority, who again leaned into the problem and brought us to a moment where we're 13 days early. Again, critically important getting the runway up and active. And so with that, I want to turn it over to a guy who has done just an amazing job as the acting administrator of the FAA. He came in, and I think a lot, probably more has been thrown at him in the last 6 months than anyone who's come in to lead the FAA in recent memory. Acting Administrator Chris Rushlow.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Pleasure to be with you all here today. And let me just echo really quick the Secretary's comments about true appreciation for the collaboration that went into this, particularly with the Port Authority today. We are actually using the new runway today for departures, and that's a big deal. Way ahead of schedule, and certainly contributing to a safe and efficient operation. I would also say our next steps are to go, we're going to have our technical operations people go out and certify that new runway for arrivals as well. It's going to take a little bit longer, simply because we want to make sure that the equipment there is certified, is flight checked, and so that's going to take a few more days. But we're really proud of that collaboration that brought everybody together to be able to utilize that extra runway today. I would also note that, as the Secretary talks about, a lot of the work that went into this in advance, so we're running a 28 arrival rate right now. Once we certify that extra runway with the new arrival instrument landing systems, we'll be able to move up to 34 rate arrival per hour. Again, a lot of that has to do with the collaboration that went into it with the airlines, with the Port Authority, in order to make sure that we're supporting a smooth and efficient and reliable air transportation system for the summer with everybody involved. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. I'm very proud of the work we've done in collaboration, particularly the FAA technical operations and controllers. As the Secretary talks about, there's a lot of work to be done, but we're in there every day. They care about the safety of the system. That's job one for us. And so again, none of this comes together as part of our aviation safety ecosystem unless everybody's putting in, particularly with the airlines when we talk about reducing delays and disruptions over the summer. So with that, I will turn it over to Sarah McKeon from the Port Authority. Sarah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much all for being here. And Secretary Duffy, we appreciate you joining us at Newark to mark this tremendous milestone. I want to take a moment to really emphasize the incredible achievement of our Port Authority staff and our partners at Crisdell Construction, who completed this phase of the Newark rehabilitation of the runway project 13 full days ahead of schedule. It was no easy feat to get here. It took around-the-clock work, literally 7 days a week of people, multiple crews, paving, milling, electricians, and Port Authority aviation, operations, maintenance, and engineering staff to make this happen. Thank you to all of you for all of your dedication and hard work over the last several weeks. With all of the runways that are now in operation at Newark, the FAA air traffic controllers have maximum flexibility to safely and effectively manage arrivals and departures throughout the system. As an agency, the Port Authority is committed to ensuring that Newark is a world-class airport. This is evidenced in part by our $3 billion investment in the award-winning Newark Terminal A and our upcoming development and replacement of the Newark AirTrain system. That said, our top priority remains returning Newark to its full operational capacity. We look forward to continuing to support the FAA and the Department of Transportation in their efforts to address the staffing and technology challenges that remain to restore Newark to its full operational capacity and potential. Thank you all so much. And with that, I'll turn it over to United CEO Scott Kirby.
Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Sarah, for the intro. Thank you to the Port Authority, Sarah, Kevin, wherever you are, for all the work to get the runway back and get it back early to help contribute to this being this airport realizing the potential that it has. But I also want to say a huge thank you to Secretary Duffy, Administrator Rocheleau, and the administration. The level of engagement that you see here today is unprecedented in my career. I've spent a career in aviation, sometimes, often working to try to get the FAA to support and help customers and help our operation. And the level of support and partnership that we've had, the very fact that you're both here with us today is a testament to trying to be partners and try to make the airspace and the airport not only safe, but work for customers around the country. And I think this is a seminal moment in the aviation infrastructure history that we're here with them today. So thank you both. I also want to thank all the employees, many of whom I see in the back of United Airlines, for what you always do. I have been through this airport 5 or 6 times in the last few weeks, and it's an inspiration to me when I walk around, because they know what I also know, that not only are they keeping our customers safe in conjunction with the FAA and the air traffic controllers, but they're doing a great job of making this a really reliable airport that our customers can count on. And in fact, for the period of time this year, for the almost 4 months of the year when runway construction wasn't going on, Newark has actually been the most reliable of the 3 New York airports, slightly ahead of both JFK and LaGuardia in terms of on-time performance and lowest cancellation rate. So they really are doing an amazing job taking care of our customers. And I really am excited today, as challenging as the last few weeks have been, and they have been tough, that the future looks brighter for Newark than it ever has in my career. The things that we have been asking for years to make this airport operate reliably for customers are now being done. The administrator talked about the number of flights that we have at the airport, and while we would at United would love to schedule more flights, we can only schedule as many as the airport can handle. And so having the infrastructure right, having the staffing right at the TRACON, at the tower, and in the centers, but also having the airport realistically scheduled is the key to letting this be the crown jewel that it really is for not just United Airlines, not just for New Jersey, but really for the entire country. Because Newark, the United Airlines hub here, actually is the largest single airline gateway, international gateway, particularly to Europe, of anywhere in the country. It really is a crown jewel of Americans visiting and seeing the world, and for people from around the world to come experience this country. So a huge thank you to everyone. We are glad to put this in the rearview mirror, and as I told you, customers can not only book with confidence. We did get well behind on bookings because of the perception issues around Newark recently, and so that means more seats are available, which means that the fares are better than they're probably going to ever be in the years to come. So now's the time to book your vacation. You want to go to Europe or you want to head across the country, now's the time, because you're going to have not just a good value, you're going to have great people of United taking care of you, but you're also going to have an airport that is likely to be the most reliable of any of the New York airports, just like it was before the runway construction for the remainder of summer. So thank you all for joining us. And with that, I'll turn it over to a congressman from this great state, which is a crown jewel for us and for the country, Congressman Tom Kean.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good. It's great to be with you, here with the Secretary, here with the leadership of the wonderful organizations. If New Jersey, the region, and the United States are going to be successful, Newark Airport has to be open. It's that simple. And this great partnership that came in 13 days early is going to be a real benefit and a real focus for other airports to follow their lead. The Port Authority did a phenomenal job. The FAA, DOT did extraordinary jobs. That partnership, as well as with the private sector, with Verizon, as well as with United, making sure that the communication was key. Infrastructure has to work. The timing has to be predictable, and together we can make sure that safety is paramount, but we can make sure this stays open and make sure we have the funding from the federal level as well. Thank you.
All right, we're happy to take any of the questions you may have for us. Yes?
So when are thank you. So when are passengers really going to see a change or a difference and, you know, in volume and the ability to book more flights and options, things like that?
So I'll take a crack at that. If I get it wrong, Chris will tell me. So we're at 28 flights an hour right now. Once the runway gets certified, we're going to increase that to 34 flights an hour. So you're going to start to see that, and that's going to be the 9th or 10th. We think it's going to be certified, so a little over a week. And so then when you'll have more capacity coming out of this airport, and we're going to hold that then for the summer. We're not going to reevaluate the number of flights per hour until we get to October.
Yeah. I'll just add that from a customer perspective, what's selling right now is that 34 flight. So if you book, you can have confidence that the selling schedules are equal to the 34 that the Secretary said, so you can book with confidence.
Yes.
Hi, Katie Corrado from Pix 11. So you had to, particularly United, cancel flights voluntarily, and that is with one runway down. So now that you've added this runway back, can you start adding flights back? Is that in the foreseeable future?
They are. So the schedule is now built starting June 15th at 34. It's 28 until then, but the airport's going to easily be able to handle the 28 because the runway's back early. But once it's back to starting June 15th, the airport is scheduled at 34 per day. And again, that's what's in the selling schedules today. So if you're buying a ticket this summer, you can have confidence that that's the schedule. And I think we'll be able to gradually ramp that up by the time we get out to October and look at the data. But we're confident. And the other thing that United has done is fly bigger airplanes. So we'll have fewer flights, we have fewer regional jets, and we're flying bigger aircraft in to keep the number of seats for customers similar to what it was before. But the schedule is now set.
Okay.
Just to add to that, we had three problems. One, the runway was getting rebuilt, and again today we're celebrating 13 days early. We had a telecom issue. That new fiber is laid, but it has to be tested. And then we have the staffing issue with air traffic controllers. So all of those things on a rolling basis are going to come online, and as that happens, we're going to be able to expand the capacity of the airport. But again, you can't snap your fingers and make it happen really quickly because these things take longer than a week or two or even a month. Yes.
Secretary, can you, I have two questions. One is the fiber that got laid and is getting tested. When do you expect that to come online?
So I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So we're looking at it, but our hope is at the end of June, early July, we can switch it over.
Okay, and then
But that's the line from the Philly Tracon to N90, and that was the problem line that we
for
had
radar, for telecom?
for telecom.
Okay. And then the air traffic controllers, you mentioned that there's many in training, that they should be able to roll out over the next year. Can you give us a little more particulars on that? Do you expect all of those air traffic controllers that are getting trained for Area C to be, rolling out like a year today? Like how can you just give more detail on that?
So we have 22 controllers. 6 are on leave right now. Okay, so it leaves us with 16 controllers in the Philly Tracon, and we have 16. These are really a lot of 16s in here, so don't be confused. We have 16 in training. 14 of those are experienced controllers from other airspaces. They have to get trained up in this airspace, and so depending on where they're at in the training will depend on when they roll out of training and become certified controllers for this airspace. I believe, Chris, we have another 6 that just came in on top of the 16, so there's a total now of 22 controllers in training, and so it does take time, right? You want to make sure you have well-trained, certified controllers controlling your airspace, and so again, they won't come out all at the same time, but they'll roll out over the course of the next months up to a year. So you'll start to see reduced stress on the controller front as we go from month to month. Yes.
Hi, Tim McNicholas with CBS News New York. A few weeks ago, the FAA announced that they were installing runway incursion devices at 70 airports across the country, but not any airports in New York or New Jersey. Why not install those devices here?
I'll take that.
So part of our analysis when we roll out this type of equipment, the safety equipment, is looking through where we're seeing evidence of increased risk. And so what we want to do going into this is identify those airports that have perhaps increased risk and put those safety mitigations in place as early as possible. So that's not to say that those 79 airports are the only airports that we're looking at. We're just constantly rolling through the system to make sure that as we identify these areas for this new technology, we can put that in place and make sure that we're mitigating that risk that we identify kind of in our ongoing safety analysis process.
Good afternoon. Ramsey Khalife with WNYC, the local NPR station. So 2 questions. You said that Verizon took up a lot of that work to make the replacements to lay down cable. Did they do that between Long Island and Philly? Like, how many miles of cabling is that really?
So that was between the Philly Tracon and New York, yes. How many exact miles? I don't know. But again, as a crow flies, I'm not sure if we went as a crow flies, but it's miles. And again, they did it very quickly.
And what about the other technology? Obviously, that's something that the DOT has proposed that needs to be completely changed across the country. But that continues to age. So what effects are we going to see if that doesn't happen more immediately?
So again, the equipment's been working, right? But we're starting to, it's like I'm driving my car and I'm hearing some knocks. I got some smoke coming out of the back. I got some problems. And it's incumbent upon us to tell America we have problems and it has to be fixed. And so in the big beautiful bill, there's $12.5 billion to start this project. Big deal. I believe the Senate's going to provide more dollars for us also. We'll see what they do. But the failure of the past has been the FAA has gotten small tranches of money, not full funding. We need full funding. We need the money up front so we can contract out and build this brand new system across the country. That's been one problem. Usually the FAA deals with middle management. FAA projects get done at the bottom of the list normally, and they take forever. Frankly, they rarely get done. We are dealing at a CEO level as we're thinking through who's going to come in and partner with us in this project. So the buy-in is way different in this project. The money's going to be way different. And the final point is we're going to need permitting reform because this has to happen fast. And again, we're not building a 6-lane thoroughfare. We're not building skyscrapers. We're going to lay fiber. And so hopefully the Congress will work with us on that as well. And hopefully we'll get it by, end of July or August. But Tom, are we going to get this by the end of July or August?
By July 1.
Tom says July 1. I can't wait. Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Secretary. If you'll forgive me, slightly technical questions. First, the fiber cable that you said is for telecom, is that going to deal with some of the radar latency issues that have been going on between N90 and Philly Tracom as well, or is that simply voice communications?
It's both.
It's both. Okay, thank you. And that 34 an hour that once the runway is certified should be the capacity of the runway layout here, is that reliant on full staffing at Philly Tracom, or is that achievable with what you've got now?
That's achievable with what we have right now. So we have the capacity, and now if there's something unforeseen that happens where we lose controllers for some reason, we'll scale those numbers back, but we'll have the staff to go to 34 with the current staffing at the Philly Tracom. Okay. Yes.
Hi, Jelani Gibson, NJ.com. Can we get an estimate on what the flights per hour were before all of the delays started happening?
50, 54. Do you want to take that? Go ahead.
The theoretical capacity of the airport was about 38.5 per hour, so 77 total operations per hour. And sometimes the day, though, it was scheduled at 80 plus. That's historically actually been the challenge at Newark, is that the theoretical maximum was 38.5 per hour, and it was scheduled over that. It would just cause delays that would bleed through the day. And so that's why this is such a seminal and really turning point for not just the near term, but the long term of Newark, is because once you philosophically start matching the number of flights to be equal to the capacity of the airport, it allows the airport to run reliably, as far into the future as you can look. So this is a really big day. This agreement that the FAA drove with the airlines is really a turning point for Newark for the long term.
And so just to be clear, you are 4 flights per hour away from the operational capacity?
From what it was historically.
Okay, got it.
Anybody else?
Hey, Lauren Simonetti, Fox Business. So when you reevaluate in October, what do you want that number per hour to be? And is the 34 number just United, or is that airport-wide?
So you take it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So that's airport-wide right now, as Mr. Kirby, sorry, as Mr. Kirby described, what we're going to do is monitor that progress through the summer. So we'll watch the nature of the operations. Obviously, weather contributes to some of that as well. And then as we continue to roll new controllers on, new certified controllers, we'll be able to assess kind of where that benchmark is going forward past October. But we'll continue to work that regularly with the airlines that operate and the Port Authority to make sure that we've kind of got a good sense of that as we get into the fall and the winter.
Anybody else?
To get clarity on the timeline for upping, you're having the inspection June 9th, and June 15th is when you'll actually launch the 34 planes an hour?
I think the difference is in planning for the 15th, United has their schedule at 34 on the 15th, but the capacity of the airport will be 34 if certified on the 10th. Right?
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Megno with Skift. I was wondering, as far as like the funding that you've talked about for air traffic control reform, what sort of timeline do you envision for that project?
So there's a number of factors, and permitting is a big one, but I believe we can do it in 3 to 4 years. And what you'll see is it's not a whole work project that completes in 3 or 4 years. You'll have airports that are done well before that, right? So we'll upgrade airspaces, TRACONs, towers, and you'll see the benefits as we go from year to year. We hope the completion of all of our airspace will be finished in that 3 to 4 year time frame. If I get the permitting reform, I think we're closer to 3. If we don't, we're closer to 4. And again, this is an American project. This is an American build. This is the most important infrastructure project that we've had in this country for decades. And so you're going to see, I think the Congress is going to engage. If a bill's on the floor today, and Tom will tell me if I'm wrong, we would have 90% of all Republicans and Democrats in both chambers that vote for it. Everyone agrees this is nonpartisan. Everyone knows we have to do it. What vehicle does the money get on in Congress to get it to us? That's why I left Congress. Maybe I'm not going to figure that out. But they want to do it, which is really important. And again, the companies that are going to work with us, they are going to work with us at the top level. And again, this is more like DOD. How they get their work done, it's a priority. We're going to be a priority, and that's going to mean we can do this in record time. And just the last point I'll leave you with is, as we think about all the runway, and again, it's not going to be certified for landings until the 9th and 10th. We care about safety. We want you to get to where you're going. And again, we might slow down flights. We might take time to certify a runway. We want to take time to certify air traffic controllers in the Philly TRACON. We don't want to rush anything. It's doing it the right way is what's key, so you feel that the system is safe, and we know the system is safe. And so again, we don't. Scott does not like flights delayed. I don't like flights delayed or canceled. But we will do it if we don't feel like the system is safe, or we have enough controllers, or there's an issue in the airspace. We slow it down or we shut it down. And I always get the question, is it safe to fly? Yes, it's safe to fly. And it's because we have such a great team that focuses day in and day out on the flying public safety. And so with that, I want to thank this team. I want to again thank the Port Authority for all of your work. Again, amazing how fast they worked around the clock to make today happen. And with that, thank you all very much.